I've been having a great weekend, and I've had the pleasure of noticing that I'm living in an answered prayer. And that makes me wonder, what if I had prayed for more? And I know that there's, the hamster wheel of never being satisfied, but there are aspects of my life that aren't the way that I would want them to be. And there's aspects of my life that I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Like, amazing, amazing. This is certainly an answered prayer. And it makes me wonder, like, are there aspects of my life where I'm like refusing to pray because I don't believe it's possible? Or, like, when you say answered prayer, it's not just like, oh, pray and do nothing. It's like, pray and then, like, move in the direction of how to make that happen. And the results will compound over time and you will get your answer. So, just like the people that are in my life and the memories and experiences that I have and share with them are 10 out of 10. And, I moved to the city not knowing anyone, not having family here, not having a job, all of that. So to go from that to relationships that I absolutely adore and spending time with people in really meaningful ways on a regular basis and having multiple people that I really, really love spending time with is something that I'm extremely grateful for. And so I'm like, okay, I prayed for friends. I was very intentional about, okay, I want to make good friends. And now I've made them, and now they're a part of my life and a part of my experiences on a regular basis. And so I'm like, what other aspects of my life could I stand to be more intentional about and explicitly ask for improvement, even if I'm not sure how that'll come about? Because part of what made me nervous about wanting friends is like you can't really control other people, how they show up, whether they exist, whether they follow through, and what that plays out to be over time. And so, versus like, if your goal is to get abs, it's like, okay, keep working out. And as you continue to work out, you'll see the results. With friends, it's kind of a crapshoot. Like you could continue to be intentional about building relationships with people around you, and it's just maybe not a good mix of people, not aligned. People have their own things going on, etc. So it's not as straightforward as working out and setting goals for yourself in that way. So being able to set a goal that I had relatively mixed control over because other people are involved and they have to consent to being a part of the process and move in your direction as much as you move in theirs has been interesting. And so I will keep that in mind as I think about other aspects of my life where things could stand to be better and whether I'm even explicitly asking of myself and the world that those areas be better, or do I just wallow because I don't think that they could be better? Because someone could argue like, oh, people suck, can't trust anyone, no new friends, so I'm not going to try. And to be fair, a majority of attempts at friendship don't work out. A majority of people do not become your friends. Some of them even become your enemies. Not a great time. So, how do I apply that mindset? Like, if I was willing to do it in this area, but I see myself being unwilling to do it in other areas. How do I apply that mindset of like, oh, the few instances that do come from this are worth the rejection and annoyances and the situations that don't work out along the way in order to create that experience, and also just having the patience to give it time for the results to show up, because it's not like, today I wish for a new friend, tomorrow I got a bestie. Anyone who's doing that doesn't actually believe in building a relationship with the person in front of them. They're just trying to have someone fill a role, because taking time to get to know people evolves over the course of, depending on the person, months, years, etc. So it's not like, oh, I want friend today, we'll have bestie tomorrow. So how can I apply that patience to other areas where it's like, okay, I met some people a couple years ago, and now our relationships have continued to deepen to the point that we're here, which is cool. How do I allow myself the same grace to start something in different areas of my life, like a business or hobbies, and let that start now, but knowing if I don't see results tomorrow or next week or next month, it's not because it's not happening, it's because these things take time to cultivate. Very interesting thought. So, that being said, I also think it's important to keep track of the things that you used to want to have in your life and now you don't have to want them anymore because they are a part of your life, right? I think often we're moving on to the next thing, the next goal, the next desire, that you don't see how many desires of the past you're already living in, right? So it's like, for example, making YouTube videos was a desire of mine and now I've been doing it for a little bit, and I got a good number of videos uploaded. So I'm like, wow, I did the thing. Like, I'm living inside the desire that I once previously had. Same thing with my friends. Same thing with working out consistently. How can I envision a desire for myself and actually plant the seeds and water them and nurture them and fertilize them until they bloom and grow and blossom into the flowering plants that they are? If you wanted an analogy. Like, today, actually, I went to dinner with someone I met at the grocery store this weekend, which is interesting because I normally don't talk to strangers, and I certainly don't talk to strangers at the grocery store. But because I had gone with my friend, I was a little bit more receptive to chatting up strangers. I was in a friendlier state, and that turned into dinner and drinks today, which was really cool. Someone who I knew saw me and she was like, "Oh my God, is this your man?" And I was like, "I don't know this guy. I just met him 2 days ago." Ha 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 ha. But we did get dinner and drinks, and that was cool. And I feel like in the digital world that we're living in, where people don't talk to each other and people are a lot more cautious and less friendly, meeting someone at the grocery store and then going to dinner and drinks with them, it's quite the feat. Especially for me because I have RBF, resting bitch face, and I'm very friendly once you start talking to me, but I will never start talking to you unless I'm just giving you a compliment or it's a social context. But like somewhere like the grocery store or the gym, I'm like, bro, I'm here to get my groceries and get out. And I assume you're here to do the same. This is not a social event. So I'm not here to make friends, sorry. But I've had friends who make friends at the grocery store, and I'm like, oh, is that what that looks like? And by being exposed to their mentality around chatting up strangers, I've been more open to it myself, and it did actually work out today. So that's pretty cool, right? Something that I've moved around a lot, and something that people will ask me often is, how do you make friends? And I'm like, you kind of just go to places, talk to someone, and then you keep talking to them, right? There's no like certain venue that has more friends than others. As long as there's a person around, there's a possible friend. And you kind of choose the types of friends that you're developing based off of the venue, right? So it's like if you're into fitness events are more likely to give you friends aligned with those values. Today's Pentecost Sunday, which is why I'm wearing red. This is not what I wore to church, but I continue to wear red in honor of Pentecost Sunday. If you're Christian and spiritual, church is a good place to continue to build relationships with people who have aligned values like yours. If you're an artist, being in art communities, if you like to travel, being able to chat people up at your hostels, etc. So it's never like, where do you go to meet friends? There's people everywhere. So go there and talk to those people, but then keep talking to them. And the keep talking to them, I think, is very hard for folks. It does, like I said, yes, I have some amazing friends in my life, but I've wasted a lot of effort and energy on shenanigans along the way with people with whom things did not work out. And so thinking about it in that context where it's like people want the idea of friends, but they don't necessarily want to reach out or ask for numbers or try to make plans or initiate or follow up or even show up. People say they're going to come to things and then they don't. So that's another part of it is, am I being intentional enough to actually create the relationships that I claim to be looking for? In my friendships I have, and I have so many wonderful friends to show for it. My friends are one of the most complimented things about my person. My skin, of course, is the number one, probably, thing that I get compliments on, but I also get a lot of compliments on how great my friends are. And I'm really proud of that, and that takes a lot of effort. And some people aren't willing to put in the effort because they prefer the idea of friends than the responsibility. And building relationships at the end of the day is truly a responsibility, which is why some people want a wedding, not a marriage. A wedding's cute, expensive, but cute. A marriage is responsibility. So unless you're prepared for the responsibility, don't commit too much to the fantasy of whatever it is that you claim to be desiring, in my personal opinion. And maybe that I can do that too, right? As much as I said maybe I should ask for more and pray for more and move towards more in other aspects of my life, maybe there's certain fantasies I just need to give up because I'm not committed to the actual responsibility of what that lifestyle looks like. Something for me to reflect on as I go into my Memorial Day weekend. Bye, y'all. And if you are or were in the military, thank you for your service.